Call a regular monthly meeting of the Rockwood City Council to order. This time I'd ask that you stand for the prayer by Mr. Ishman and remain standing for the pledge of the flag. Mr. Ishman.
Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the sunshine and your blessings upon us. We thank you for the city, and we thank you for these council persons that dedicate their time to making the city go. We thank you for everyone that works for the city, and we thank you for the people here that they give us a good meeting tonight, and we ask your blessings upon us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call roll.
Councilman Anderson. Here. Councilman Holloway.
Here.
Councilman Fuller.
Here.
Councilman Bryant.
Here.
Councilwoman Evans.
Here.
Councilwoman Wilson.
Here.
Mayor Miller.
Here.
Sorry.
All present, we do have a quorum. You received the minutes from the April 26, 2021 meeting and the May 4th, 2021 meeting. Is there any additions or corrections?
I made one correction on the front page of the first one's Mayor. The spelling of Mr. Holloway's name.
Well, you probably spelled it close to right anyway. Any additions or corrections? If I hear none, do I hear a motion to be approved?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Holloway. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Evans. Councilman Holloway. Councilwoman Evans. Anyone? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item is presentation and approval of financials, April 2021, financial reports and bank info. What's the will of the council? What's the will of the council?
So,
Got a motion by Councilman Fuller. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Wilson. Do we have a... Councilman Fuller, do you have anything?
no, sir, just going to hand it over to Miss Ruby.
Ms. Rupi.
You should have a copy of all the bank statements in your packet, and for the general fund, as of April 30th, we had $1,379,285.72. Reserve and emergency, $346,136.94. TVA Foundation Fund, $6,637. Payroll Fund, $1,052.35. The Drug Fund, $44,935.87. State Street Aid, $211,324.53. Small Drug Fund, $807.54. Special Revenue, $48,663.19. Capital Projects, we got all of our paving payments made and all that, and it is down to $5,685.24 for a total in all accounts of $2,044,528.38. You also have a copy of all the bank statements. In the summary financials, you'll see that at the end of April, we had taken in 81.9% of all of our revenue, and we've just done really well on the revenues this year because some of our biggest ones stayed 1 and 2 months behind, so we're going to exceed several of those line items this year. What's important is our expenditures through the end of April were just at 69%, so we're going to collect more. The department heads have done a great job at preserving their budgets. Of course, we're going to have some pretty big expenditures that you guys approved, the police cars and the equipment, the mowers and things like that, but we've had a very good year. You also have a copy of the reconciled checks for the month of April, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Anything further, Councilman Fuller?
No, sir.
Council Lady?
No.
Anyone else? Call roll.
Councilman Anderson?
Yes.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilwoman Evans?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item is public comments. We always like to let anyone that wants to address the mayor and council to do so at this time. All we ask is that you stand where you are, state your name and address. This will be the last time you'll be able to address the mayor and council unless a council member yields the floor to you. Anyone? Yes, sir.
Us two.
Okay.
My name is Dan Guile, and I live at 410 Rathbone Street. And this is Lisa. She lives beside me, and she's a neighbor. There's
Okay.
several problems we have. One is a lot across the road from us, we have pictures, is the grass is 4.5 feet tall. The lot that's down on the corner of Rathburn and the street that goes in front of it, the grass is 3.5 feet tall. Now, I can bring the rats and snakes, and y'all can play with them and cuddle them and call them George. So we're having problems out of that. And it's not hard to do because I know you made an ordinance to mow this. And then once before we talked to you about our taxes, well, we went to the lady, called them in Nashville, sent them letters. And they sent us back and showed where the lady was 17 years behind the taxes. Now, I know that this city council is in Rockwood, but it also represents all of Rome County. So then you stand there and say, okay, so everybody in this room is to go look at their tax paperwork, because I guarantee you it's wrong. The lady looks at a Google map that's 19 years out of date. Across the road, where all them weeds are, is a trailer on Google Map. And I don't see it when I drive up there, it must be invisible. And then, when the house on the other side of where we live, the grass is this tall and ain't been mowed in 1.5 years, and it's just sitting there vacant. And there was people living in it for a long time till somebody came along and boarded all the boards up. When you call the law, they drop by. They never stop, never ask no questions, never come and see nobody. They just drive by. Them two, one of them is all the time doing that, and the other ones, I don't know about the rest of them. And it's a real simple thing, is to call this lady up, got her phone number, and ask her to please mow her yard. That's all we're asking. And then as far as the other house goes, I have no idea who owns it. And as far as the one on the corner, I have no idea who owns it. But sooner or later, they're all three going to cause problems. Fire hazard for one, rats and snakes for another, just all kind. And you wanted Rockwood to look beautiful. How's it looking beautiful? The grass is tall. That's not very good. Now the best of all, excuse me, there's 500 tires on the city property. There's a whole dump truck load of trash beside of it. I came and asked Mr. Dishman before COVID-19 to come and look at it and see what he could do. He said, come to the city council and ask them to see what they could do.
What's that address where it's at?
It's 419 Stewart Street on the dead end of it.
419.
Stewart Street on the dead end of it. It's an environmental hazard because I took 4 days of OSHA training. And any time that you have OSHA violation, it's $25,000 a day for every time you have a violation. The tire's been there probably 10 years. Wonder what that would cost. Break out your calculator. It'd probably catch on fire and disintegrate. Then the other problem is, I called REU and for 3 weeks ago and put in a work order to fix electric lines that are twisted together and touching. I hope my power never gets shorted out, because then I'm going to own REU. Because once it's on the paperwork, it has to be fixed. Okay, my wife's going to start working for JVT TV. They got a gigantic computer coming to the house. I would hate to see if that got burned up. And I've told 4 different people at REU to look at it, and 2 of them had bucket trucks, and they just drove off. One guy drove up in a truck and looked at it. I guess he was daydreaming, and he drove off. But nobody has fixed it. That's the reason I'm here tonight, to see what anybody's gonna do. And I know you at one time worked at RU.
Still do.
Okay, good man. I guess I'm talking to the guy that can get it done. Like Larry says, get it done. Don't procrastinate, just get it done. That's all, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Dennis?
John Dennis, 416 West Wheeler Street. I just wish to reflect back for about 10 minutes ago with that beautiful opening prayer. That was, it just touched my heart, the spirit of it. And how thankful Harold was, and how thankful we are, how thankful we should be and could be even more if we work on developing an attitude of gratitude. We live in a marvelous country, the land of the free and the home of the brave. We have a lot to be thankful for. Memorial Day is soon approaching. A lot of good people have given all for our country, and a lot of them around it, but that are still alive that would have given all, but they didn't quite get there. Anyway, I'm grateful for these people and grateful for your citizens, and I hope that we'll all be able to follow the spirit that was in that prayer and defending our country and appreciating our country and our divinely inspired Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, I've got one thing before we move on, because he may have to leave if he gets a call. I've got a letter that I want to read you. I think all of you had it in your packet, from Sheriff Jack Stockton. Mayor Miller, I'd like to personally thank Rockwood Police Officer Chris Marney for his assistance on May 7th in the apprehension of an armed robbery suspect on Riggs Chapel Road. His quick thinking, sense of duty, and immediate response helped put an end to an extremely violent crime spree. He is a credit to his community and to the ranks of the Rockwood Police Department. I've asked Mr. Marney to come tonight and give from me and this whole council and this whole city, thank you for what you did, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Reports from council. Do we have any tonight? If I hear none, we'll move on to no old business tonight. We'll move on to new business. Ordinance 1276, first reading. Ordinance for the city of Rockwood, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget and tax rate on first reading for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021 and ending June 30, 2022. We had a work session earlier tonight. Before we get to it, I'd like to highlight a few things that's on there. Again, we're keeping our tax rate the same at .9220. Included in this budget will be a 4% increase for our employees and a $1,000 Christmas bonus. I think it's a good budget. We've had 2 work sessions on it. This is first reading. We will have a public hearing and second reading at next month's meeting. So again, I want to thank Becky and Belinda for helping put that together, getting it done. This is, I think, is an excellent budget. And again, I'm proud of it. And again, we're going to be able to keep our tax rate below $1, which I think is a good thing for our citizens. Do I hear a motion we approve the ordinance 1276 budget on first reading? What's the will of the council?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Holloway. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bryant. Councilman Holloway.
The reasons you stated, Mayor, no tax increase, raises for our employees, it's a good strong budget. Appreciate everybody working on it.
Councilman Bryant.
I echo the same. We need to move on now, and everything looks good.
Thank you. Anyone else? This is first reading. We will have a public hearing and second and final reading next month.
I think this budget just shows how good our employees are, because all our departments are doing great, and just glad we could get things back on track with raises and Christmas things.
Anyone else? Call her up.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilman Bryant,
Yes.
Councilwoman Evans,
Yes.
Councilman Fuller,
Yes.
Councilman Holloway,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item is Resolution 2173, a resolution approving Cigna Local Plus Plan for city health insurance for employees from August 1st, 2021 to July 31st, 2022. I wanted to go over this with you, and I'm not going to recommend either one of them. I want you all to make that decision because they both look good to me. We can keep our, if you'll see on the page, we can keep our regular insurance just exactly like we've got it, $750 deductible, 80%, basically everything the same as we have right now for no increase at all. But there's another option that I'd like you to look at, and you'll see it on that page. The deductible will be $500. Okay? The employee and child will be $1,000 deductible, which is a decrease. But there's some other things you need to look at. Out of pocket is down from $5,000 to $3,600. But if you have a child, out of pocket goes up $400. We have 5 people that have their child on it. We have no family coverage and we have no spousal coverage. So all we have is the individual and the 5 with child. So you can look down through there. There is some differences under prescriptions. You got 10. Right now it's 10, 35, and 60. With this new one it'd be 7, 40, and 90. So there is an increase there. And if you go with option 1 that we just went over, it's a 3.72 increase. So again, if you stay with what we have now, the deductible's a little higher. But again, prescriptions, most of them are lower. And then if you go with option 1, the deductible's lower at $500. But I want you to look at that child thing there. The out-of-pocket is $400 higher. But now the out-of-pocket for the individual is cheaper. It's $1,400 cheaper. So I wanted to give you some options to look at, and it is 3.72% increase. So I wanted to give you all that information to look at. If you got any questions, we'll try our best to answer them. Do you all have a recommendation tonight? Or is there a motion on the floor on either one of them? Or would you like to look at it again next month after studying it and looking at it? That's y'all's option, but I did want to put it on there to give you some information.
I would like,
Councilwoman Evans.
I would like to see what other bids that we had for the city employee insurance.
We didn't have any other. The only other thing we looked at was the state plan, because they contacted us about the state plan, and it's basically what you see in option 1.
So it's not put out for bid anymore?
No, ma'am. No,
Since
ma'am.
when did we change that?
We have not put it out to bid, because if we can get 0% increase, that's hard to beat. So that's the reason that we haven't.
And Mr. Walker shops that for us,
Yes, and this is shopped around. So,
and he may have a comment about that.
anything further? Anything further tonight?
Mayor, I make a motion, we defer it to next month, give us a chance to look it over.
Okay, we got a motion to defer. Do we have a second?
I'll say-
Second by Councilman Anderson. No discussion on motion to defer. Call roll.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilwoman Evans?
Yes.
Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 2174, a resolution authorizing the insurance of not to exceed $4,700,000 general obligation bonds of the city of Rockwood. We need a motion and a second to get it on the floor for discussion. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Fuller. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Wilson. Councilman Fuller.
I'd like for Ms. Becker to explain
Yes.
this.
We'll let the,
Mr. Gibson or?
Mr. Gibson, who is with the bond company, go ahead, Mr. Gibson.
So you have two resolutions on the agenda. This first one is for 4.7 million, and it is the initial resolution. So the utilities are here, they have some projects they are doing for the water sewer system and the gas system. And so that would be the new money portion of it. And under state law, if you pass the resolution, we will publish that in the paper. The citizens have 20 days to protest it, although it's all going to be paid for by water, sewer, and gas revenues, so it's not going to impact the city's property taxpayers. The second resolution, if you put it on or decide to take it up, is a resolution that would do two things. So it will allow us to issue new money bonds for the 4.7 that we just discussed for these projects. And then the balance of that money is going to be used to refinance all the water sewer debt that is outstanding for savings. And so the numbers I handed out at the beginning of the meeting, there's a savings page in there. On page, if you flip to page 6, it outlines the estimated savings on the water sewer system. And so that's about right at another 4.5 million, right at 4.6 million. And we're going to save about $500,000 and shorten the debt up about 10 years by doing that. And so we're going to put all that together into one bond issue to get the best economies of scale for the utility system. And we hope to lock in a rate of approximately 2% on this entire financing. So the refunding piece will probably be a little bit less than 2%, and then the new money, when it's all put together, will be right at 2%. So it's going to be on average right, like I said, just slightly below 2%.
And you said it's a savings of over 500,000.
500,000 and shortening the current outstanding debt by 10 years.
Councilman Fuller, you have anything else?
So in other words, we're reducing the term and also reducing the rate, which saves us some money.
That is correct. Yeah, there's a graph on page 8 for the water and sewer system. And so on this graph here, you can see the black line represents where they are today in the water sewer system. And so we're going to pay a little bit extra right in here to shorten this debt up. And because of the interest savings, we're able to pay more principal early. And then the orange here represents the new money for some longer term projects. And the blue represents some water meters they're going to put in. So we're financing the water meters over about a 13-year period. And so that way we have not financed that portion of the project longer than the useful life of the meters. And so that is what is going on. And then in this book, there's some gas improvements, and those are also being financed. And there's currently no debt in the gas system, but they wanted to finance that, and that is in here too. Once again, about a little less than 2% is the estimated rate.
Thank you. Anything further, Councilman Fuller?
That's it.
You had the second, I think. Anything further on it? Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, we're only dealing with Resolution 2174. That's the first one.
The initial.
Yes. Has anyone else got any more questions on Resolution 2174? Call roll.
Councilman Anderson?
Yes.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilwoman Evans?
This is a hard thing to do.
Okay.
I think before I do, I don't know, just say no at this time.
No. No's your vote, correct? Okay.
Councilman Fuller,
Yes.
Councilman Holloway,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item is Resolution 2175, a resolution authorizing the insurance of general obligation bonds for the city of Rockwood not to exceed 9.1 million in one or more series, making provisions for the insurance sale and payment of said bonds, establishing the terms thereof, deposition of proceeds therefrom, and providing the levy of tax for the payment of principal, premium, if any, and interest on the bonds. What's the will of the council?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Fuller. Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Council Lady Wilson. Councilman Fuller.
Delighted.
So this is the detailed resolution. What the one you just approved was the initial. We'll get that published. This is the detailed resolution. It has all the, basically all the, it's the 20-page plus one that has all the information about the bond issue. And like I said, this is two parts. One, the new money for 4.7, and then approximately 4.6 of it for the refinancing, which will save you $500,000 on the water sewer system and shorten the debt up. So if you approve that, we can move forward with both pieces. I will tell you, the 20 days have to run before we actually sell bonds. We also are waiting on the utilities to finish their audit up, which should happen next week. And then the city is also working to finish their audit up for 2020, which hopefully will be done by the end of June. And so we will get this process moving, but it will not be quite as fast because we're still waiting on the audit. So, but that should happen in the next few weeks, and then we'll keep moving along. Hopefully have ready to sell bonds end of June or early July and close toward the end of July. So I think that's where we are. And I wanted to say something off the resolution subject, just that I've been helping the city a long time, and y'all have, this city has come a long way financially, and I think Becky has done an excellent job here the last several years, and this whole council, where you stand today versus where you stood. It's been a while, but way back. So just wanted to throw that out there because y'all have made tremendous progress.
Anything further, Councilman Fuller?
No.
Council Lady Wilson, you have any other questions?
Mayor,
Councilman Holloway.
Miss Ramsey or Miss Lefty now. You don't foresee being any great increase on either the water or sewer, since we're saving this $500,000 and then we're getting 10 years less on this.
Well, I think we're saving some money with the refinancing, and we're also, this includes putting in new meters, a new metering system, so we hope to see some savings on that. So between those, we think we can move ahead and feel fairly stable right now. So this does not affect or make us into having a rate increase. The larger part is on the gas side, you'll notice, as far as new money. But we're looking forward to the projects ahead and trying to get the utility where it needs to be for the future. So we're excited about this and feel good about where it stands.
Anything further? Anyone else?
What's the
Council. Wait a minute. Go ahead.
what's the possibility of our water sewer rates going up?
I can't really speak to when they may go up in the future, but they won't go up because of this refinancing, if that answers your question. Now, we are experiencing increased cost of operation, just like the city is, so I can't say that it won't happen in the future. But this does not trigger, in fact, our debt service, we'll be paying less this next year than what we paid this year, even with the new money that we're borrowing. And that's something Scott and I worked together to make sure that we were in a position so it wasn't adding to our bottom line expenses.
Yeah, if you ever want to look at the graph on page 8, you can see the black line. This is 2021 and how the debt payments were coming down. We are going to layer this new debt, but the total payments, even with the new debt in the future, will be less than what they are today. So as Kim just mentioned, really the debt is not going to drive rate increases or something. That they already are making debt payments. They actually will make a debt payment this year larger than they will in the future. So the debt is not the issue. Now, operating costs, I can't speak for that, but the debt is not driving anything as far as, having to have a rate increase, so.
Thank you. Anything further?
It's the meters.
Councilman Brown?
Yes, it's the meters, is it, we're talking about, that's the ones that are maybe bad, or all of the meters, or what are we talking about?
This would be for an AMI system, which actually would collect our data, give data to our office staff, so they
Yes.
have it, cut down on how much field work needs to be done.
Okay.
It's a big project, and we are looking at proposals now that we expect to get in this week, so our board can start looking at it. But it's a completely different system to transmit our data. That's how it works, basically.
Anything further? No. How old would you say the meters that you are going to replace?
Probably the youngest meters are still 15, 16 years old, and a lot more older than that. And typical life of a meter is less than 15 years, so
Yeah, they're way past due.
we're beyond that.
If it's like at the utility, the meters are probably costing you money.
They are, because meters traditionally will slow down as they get older.
They're just like me, I don't run as fast as I did when I was 18. Which I didn't run very fast then. Okay, so this is a big part of it's changing those meters, correct?
It is, we're excited about that.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
In other words, we're making some long-term improvements and
Yes.
stepping up to the technology, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything further? This is on Resolution 2175. Call roll.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilman Bryant,
Yes.
Councilwoman Evans,
We'll have to think about it again, no.
Councilman Fuller,
Yes.
Councilman Holloway,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wilson. Yes. Mayor Miller.
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item is 2176, a resolution supporting the action alternative proposed in the TVA public notice titled Rockwood Campground and Marina. As you all know, I've been working on this along with Ms. Rupi, this council, past councils, for over 20 years. And we are really moving along at a rapid pace. And this is to take the land that was deeded to us by Harry Truman in 1950-something. And this we'll be making a marina, campground, restaurant, those type of things down at next to Tom Floor Park on that property that we own down there. And we have to get a deed modification to be able to do that. Right now, we've never been this far along in this process. TVA has publicly put it out for people to comment on it. So we are really, really doing well on this, and it's looking really good. I just think it's very important, even though we've approved it years ago when we first started this process, I think it's very, very important that we give our full support to this public notice that's going out to let everyone know where this council stands on the development down there. Because we have to move forward. We talk about it all the time that we need ways to bring new revenue into our community. Because it's flat right now. This will be a way to bring new revenue to this community. And we need to really support this and get behind it and make sure that we get this done. So you'll see in Resolution 2176 what's the will of the council.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Holloway. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Anderson. Councilman Holloway.
Mr. Mayor, so like you said, we've been looking forward to this for 20 years. And we're getting closer, and it's really going to help our city with the revenue, so I'm looking forward to it.
Councilman Anderson. Anyone else? Call roll.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilman Bryant,
Yes.
Councilwoman Evans,
Yes.
Councilman Fuller,
Yes.
Councilman Holloway,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wilson. Yes. Mayor Miller.
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item is Resolution approving Cannon to proceed on the design and to provide matching funds for the Tom Fuller Park sanitary sewer pump station and force main. Let me go over this with y'all, what this is. We received a grant. Let me go back. When we started this development talk at the marina, one of the big things that they needed to make this go was to make sure that we had sewer down there. So we applied for a grant back in 2018 and got awarded it, $400,000, and it's a 50% match. Well, we've had to get 2 or 3 extensions because this thing has drug out trying to make sure we get it getting through TVA, making sure we'd be able to get this done. Well, now it's time that it's getting close, and we need to be prepared. If the CEO of TVA signs this, we need to be ready to go. So what I'm asking this council, let me go back on one other thing. This is not a project that the water, sewer, and gas was ever entering into their plans, future, or anything. We asked them to do this as a council, I think last council. We asked them to do this, and again, this was not in their capital plan for the near future. This is something we asked them to do. So what I'm asking this council is, Cannon will come in and do the design, which we have to get started. They'll do the design and do all that. The cost of it is $109,210. The match, which you remember I said earlier, is 50%. So that'd be $54,605. What I'd like to ask this council to do is for us to do the match right now, and to take it out of those funds that we got from the government, the CARES Act, of $76,000 some, that we take it out of that and do the match so we can get this moving forward. Again, remember, this project's going to be probably close to $1 million, and we're going to have to help them because they didn't want to do it. I mean, I shouldn't say it that way. It was not in their plans. This is something we brought up. But we've got to remember, if we're going to move forward in this community, and that's all we talk about, then we're going to have to invest money. It's not going to be free to move forward. And I'm asking this council to commit to the match on the design, getting down to the short of it. What's the will of the council?
So moved.
Motion by Council Lady Wilson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Fuller. Discussion. Council Lady Wilson, do you have anything?
I agree with everything you said, Mayor. We'll have to put the money in.
Councilman Fuller.
It sounds like we can get started with no cost and get things rolling.
Well, there will be a $54,605 match.
Using the funds from.
Yes. Yes. Anyone else? Call her over.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilman Bryant,
Yes.
Councilwoman Evans,
Yes.
Councilman Fuller,
Yes.
Councilman Holloway,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes.
You ready to go far?
Yeah. All right. Thank y'all for that support. We can get moving forward on that. Resolution 2178, the resolution accepting real estate at 69 North Chamberlain Avenue. This guy has called and he's willing to give us that property. Now again, it's another one of those deals where we'll have to tear the house down, but we think we can do it with city workers. Rick's looked at it with Mr. Ishman. They've looked at it. We think we can do it, so that'll cut down on the cost of it. But it's a nice piece of property. The only thing, and you'll read this in the resolution, we will take this property if TNCare, we get the official letter from TNCare that they're releasing the lien. And this is like some of the other properties we've done in the past, where we take them, we clean them up, we sell them, and we really we really come out well, make money. But it all depends, even if we approve this tonight, it all depends if TennCare releases their lien on it. What's the will of the council? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Holloway. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Council Lady Wilson. Councilman Holloway.
Now, Mayor, you described everything, we get that back and set it, so it should work out.
Councilwoman Wilson.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? I think the 4 or 5 properties that we have done this way, or maybe more, we've probably made $5,000 or $6,000 on each one of them, hadn't we, after we've sold them, and then got a nice piece of property, got a nice house on them. Anything further? Call roll.
Councilman Anderson?
Yes.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilwoman Evans? Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wilson? Yes. Mayor Miller?
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item is a resolution to approve to hire a chief mechanic at garage. You know our mechanic left, where they interviewed, and Rick interviewed, and he's made this recommendation to hire Brian Jackson as the new mechanic. What's the will of the council?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Holloway. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Lady Evans. Councilman Holloway.
I accept Rick's recommendation there, he knows what he's looking for, we need a mechanic man.
Council Lady Evans.
He looks like he's well qualified. I think he'll do a good job.
Anyone else? Call roll.
Councilman Anderson?
Yes.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilwoman Evans?
Yes.
Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wilson? Yes. Mayor Miller?
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item is a resolution to move forward with the design on living quarters for the fire station number 2 living quarters out here. As you know, behind the Methodist Church, we have the money in the budget. We're just going to allow them to go in and start doing some design and looking at what we need to do in the future. This is just the next step after we build it. We said we were going to try to put living quarters in it. That will help us with our rating. But we got to get the design done on it. So we do have it in the budget, correct? So what's the will of the council? Motion by Councilwoman Evans. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bryant. Councilwoman Evans.
I think they need it. Be great for them to have it.
Councilman Bryant.
Agreed. I think we need to get that in place and move forward.
Anyone else? Call roll.
Councilman Anderson?
Yes.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilwoman Evans?
Yes.
Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wilson? Yes. Mayor Miller?
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item is consideration of fire department turnout gear bids. We have received 2. I need a motion to allow me to open these 2 bids. What's the will of the council?
Make a motion, you open the bid.
Motion by Council Lady Evans. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bryant. Discussion, Councilwoman Evans, you have anything?
No.
Councilman Bryant. Anyone? Call roll.
Councilman Anderson?
Yes.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilwoman Evans? Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wilson? Yes. Mayor Miller?
Yes, and the ayes have it. Like I said, we have 2 bids. This looks like this is from Quaker. Their bid is $26,064. This is for 12 sets. 26,000, Quaker, $26,064. I know,
Yeah,
I know, okay. This is $29,359.08. So the low bid is, whatever the name, Quaker. What I'd like to do, if we could, is the motion, whatever the motion is that we allow the chief and his committee that he's got, that it meets the specs, and if it does, we go through with it. What's the will of council?
So moved.
You going with the low bid by Quaker of $26,000?
Yes.
Got a motion by Councilman Holloway. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Evans. Discussion, Councilman Holloway? Councilwoman Evans?
No.
Anyone? The motion is to accept the low bid of $26,064, I think it was, by Quaker, and that if it meets the specs after the chief and his committee meet, then we'll go with it. Any further discussion? Call roll.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilman Bryant,
Yes.
Councilwoman Evans,
Yes.
Councilman Fuller,
Yes.
Councilman Holloway,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wilson. Yes. Mayor Miller.
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item is the budget amendments. You'll see that you've received those in your packet. There's a bunch of them, but this is end of year amendments, correct, Ms. Ruki? Do I hear a motion that we approve all of them together, and then we'll allow her to go over them and get in detail?
So moved.
Motion by Councilwoman Wilson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bryant. Discussion, you yield to her.
I yield to Becky.
Ms. Rupi?
Most all these budget amendments are just moving money around within their budgets. Last year when we did our budget, we were in the middle of COVID, and some things were unsure and unknown what was gonna happen. So I'll just quickly go over, if you have any questions, just stop me. But the first one is city court. Sometimes it depends on the pay periods, how it falls at the end of the year, whether you have, like this year we'll have a week in July that she does a check that it'll cause us to have an extra week in the year that we're in. So sometimes things don't fall right. We just need that little $100 extra put toward the city judge. The next one is we just moving money. Anybody that's on salary, those pay periods make it change just a little bit. So that's the reason for that one. Telephone, internet, we went through a battle last year, finally got everything worked out. We used to have an internet bill with Comcast at the library, at City Hall, at Fire and Police. Now we have them all combined into one, and it all goes through City Hall, and we have a firewall and protection that we didn't have before. So you'll see in a lot of these budgets that the telephone, internet goes over in the budget this year, but next year there'll be a pretty significant savings because we have eliminated 3 of those bills. Tax collections, when we was approached by the property assessor about paying that extra money that we hadn't been paying in the past that Molly brought to our attention, that was really paid out of the wrong line item. We just moved it, put it back where it belongs. City attorney, we've worked Greg pretty hard this year on demolitions and taking court cases to court for us and stuff, so we need to add a little bit to that. The next one is a pretty big amendment. This is the amendment that resulted in all the things that you guys voted last month and the month before to purchase out of the COVID money. So we have the cars, the turnout gear, the mowers, those type of things. And golf, golf just kept on churning during COVID. I mean, people kept playing. We stayed open, and they had more expenses than they've ever had in the past at cleaning the carts and cleaning all the equipment, everything every day. But today, when they turned their money in, they have already exceeded what we had in the budget for revenue for this year. So they might have cost a little more in COVID supplies and stuff, but they're gonna go over their budget for the first time, I think, since I've been here, that they've exceeded what we thought they would do. General government, when the council voted to put the Christmas bonus in last year, we wanted to take it out of the workers' comp savings and the insurance deductibles and that type of thing. So we fixed that in the general government budget. In police, he had a lot of money left in insurance and wages, and we just moved it to other lines that he needed in, like gas and oil, operating supplies. And his part-time went up because he had so many full-time positions that weren't filled. So we've had to work the part-time person more, but we just moved money from regular salaries to part-time. Number 17 in fire, they've done very well with their budget this year, saved a lot of money in some line items. We didn't get to work our part-time like we had in the past during COVID. So we just squeezed every line that he had possible to come up with the money to get his, to get Fire Station 2 designed. So we just moved, anywhere he had money left, we tried to put it where we can do that work for Fire Station 2. Animal control, our shelter fees were a little bit more than what we had budgeted. We just moved that money to cover that. Number 19, building inspector was just a very small amendment. He didn't have a phone in the past. He used his own phone and used a little cheap camera. Now he's got a phone that he can take pictures of, all the things that he has to deal with. So that's just a little bit increase there. In streets, the FEMA money that we received back earlier in the year, we put that in there, and we're covering some of the purchases he's made, and we just moved it to line items that he needed it in. Nobody has exceeded their budget, so all of these are just moving money back and forth. The garage just had a little bit of extra expense there. Sanitation, this was the one we just wasn't real sure about. We did a whole lot more cleanup this past year, as you all know. Didn't really know what to expect, so when we do more cleanups, that means more trips to Dayton, means more sanitation, disposal fees and that type of stuff. So we, but he's brought in a lot more money. So we took those three on the top there, number 22. All those are amounts that's been brought in addition, above and beyond what we budgeted. So we brought in $5,500 more in property cleanup, $5,200 more in disposal charges, and $8,000 more in solid waste collections. So we've done good, but it costs us a little bit to get there. Park and recreation, we had a lot of paid on call last year, but we had some regular positions that weren't filled, so we just moved money from wages down to cover that paid on call. Golf, as I was saying, had a little bit more expense than they normally do, but they're bringing the money in to cover it. Library, you might say, why in the world would you do a $10 budget amendment? We did that because it was an error in last year's budget, and library is based on maintenance of effort. It has to be the exact same number, so I fixed that $10 mistake from last year. Her telephone and internet was over too, and it wasn't just because of the internet here, but we got those little Wi-Fi hotspots last year in a grant during COVID for people. You could rent those out and take them home and use them, and so she had an expense to that we hadn't budgeted, so we fixed that. On debt service, we just moved, we had a little bit more in principal and a little less in interest. We fixed those. And the airport, thanks to Mr. McClarty and Mr. Duke and all the guys and girls up there, that budget's just crazy. They bring in money, we spend money. I mean, they've done so well. It's just been so good. And the fuel sales have increased. We just moved money around where they needed it, and they're bringing in enough money to cover it. They're actually, for the first time since ever, we're going to be in the black with the airport. We think we won't know anything till the very end of June, but we feel like it's going to pay for itself this year and have money left. And that's one thing that we got to start doing a little different in the future, is if airport brings in more money than what it takes to run it, that money must be assigned in the fund balance to be spent on nothing but the airport. So if they make $10,000 more than it costs us to keep it open, we got to put that $10,000 in the fund balance for the airport. It can't be spent in the general fund. And the last one is in State Street aid. We had extra money in repair and maintenance, and when you all voted to purchase that roller, that paving roller, that's just moving the money down to pay for that roller that he already had in his budget. And that is it. And we'll have a few more, Mr. Mayor, at the June meeting, but this will be the bulk of them for the year.
Well, I hope so. Anything else?
No, sir.
Who had the second? Councilman Bryant, do you have any question?
No.
Anyone else? Ms. Ruby, this is just basically moving money around in each budget to get it right, correct?
Yes.
Anyone else? Call the roll.
Councilman Anderson?
Yes.
Councilman Bryant?
Yes.
Councilwoman Evans?
Yes.
Councilman Fuller?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, and the ayes have it. Next item is comments. Councilwoman Wilson, do you have anything tonight?
No, sir.
Councilman Anderson?
No.
Councilman Holloway? Councilman Fuller?
No, sir.
Councilman Bryant?
No.
Councilwoman Evans?
No.
Okay, I want to thank all the employees and the department heads. Again, you heard it here tonight. They've done a wonderful job of taking care of their budget and getting things done, and that way we'll be able to buy more stuff that helps them in their job. I want to thank all those employees and all the department heads. I want to thank this council for taking the time and effort looking at this budget and all the good things you do. I know we get a lot of criticism at times, but we're all got pretty thick skin, we can take it. I do want to address something tonight that was said. And we welcome everybody to come and speak their mind, and that's okay. But I do want to rebut some of it. I'm not sure what went on over at 410 Rathburn, but I will know when I leave here tonight, because I'm going to go over and look at it. But I do know what Harold Ishman has done for this city in cleanup. Now, has it slowed down some? The pandemic slowed it down because we couldn't get in court. I think we got 3 on June the 15th, correct?
3 or 4.
3 or 4 on June the 15th. Now, do we have more that needs to be done? There's no question about it. There's no question about it. But what he has done and what she has done, I'm talking about you, and I appreciate it, they have worked their tail off to make this city look better. It's not there yet, and to be honest with you, it won't be where we all want it when we're all dead and gone. But it has improved, and it's improved a bunch. Rathburn, it's not like he wants it. So we're going to go over and look at it when we leave here tonight. And we're going to see why.
What was the address on that?
410 West Rathburn, I believe that's what he said. Not sure exactly what he's talking about, but we'll know.
Okay.
But, I know there's people that are not happy with whatever we do. And if we've got a problem over there, we're going to get it corrected, I'll guarantee you that. But I want to thank Harold, and he said something about the police department didn't do what they needed to do. Well, I tell you, right now, I'm proud of all our employees. They all work hard, and they all do a good job. Are they perfect? No, I reckon I'm the only perfect person I know.
No, you're not.
Well, I'm close. But I do, they do a tremendous job. And there's a lot of things behind the scenes that people don't know the reason they can't do certain things. You got to remember, when we send a letter to someone to mow, we have to get that letter signed if we can. So it takes time, and sometimes, yes, it does get high. But we are working at it. But we'll go over and look at that tonight. But again, I want to thank this council for their support on this cleanup, the work we've been able to do. We're going to stay after it. And I want to thank all of our employees. They've done a heck of a job. And that's all I've got to say. Did I hear a motion we adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Holloway, just have a second. Second by Councilwoman Evans, Bryant, Councilman Bryant, Councilwoman.
Anyway.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Of course, it be done.